everybody, and welcome to Danielle, the Happy Medium. I hope you can all see that okay. We've got some new equipment and things, some new tripods and whatnot. As I said the other week, we're going to be obviously bringing new equipment and things to the live platform. So welcome. It's been about a week since I've been on YouTube, starting to get really comfortable with this channel now. Hiya to Laura. Hope you're well, Laura. Really getting very, very comfortable with this channel. Understand it a lot more than what I did when I first come on here. And this evening, it's obviously live question and answer time, but it's also an opportunity to talk about the clairs and the clairs that are used for mediumship. There is going to be exercises in this Q&A and obviously discussion this evening, due to the fact that as I've been doing a lot of research across YouTube, especially with mediumship, vlogs, videos, whatever it may be, there are plenty of people talking at you, but ain't anybody telling you how to do it. So this channel's going to be about how you can use the clairs, which way it'll be beneficial to you, not only objectively but also subjectively. Any questions that you sort of have with connections to, you know, clairs and what they use for, psychic abilities, this type of thing. So we're very much going to be talking about that this evening here. I don't know how long I'll be here. Be as long as people want me to be here. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Ferry Hill, where I'm from or where I live. Sun's been shining all day, and I'm about to go away for a few days. So my Facebook page, which is Danielle Happy Medium, will still be running, still be manned, but I am going to be taking a step back as a medium. I haven't had a break in 4 months, so I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break there. So welcome to everybody who's just joined. I hope you subscribed. Please do tell your friends about this channel. Spirit class, I'll just give you a little bit of an update on Spirit class. Spirit class will be up and running from the 25th of May next month, so we're nearly into May now. We've got a couple of days before May. So that's going to be up and running at the end of May there. I've been in talks with an estate agent. This has been a little dream of mine for a long time, to bring a school to the north for not only residential students, but also students from an international basis as well. Being asked many times, am I going to open a school? Am I going to train in a school and bring other mediums and things into this school? Yes, is the answer to your question. That is where my stance is now with training. So I'm very excited to be bringing that to the north. That's probably going to take me about 2 to 3 years. I have got the back end of somebody as well, so I'm really chuffed about that as well. So hopefully within 3 years, I will have obviously a place where people can come, you know, do massive weekend workshops, come along and do week workshops, and this will be not only on mental mediumship but also psychic ability and also physical mediumship there as well. So I'm going to be covering everything in this workshop or this place. I won't obviously be doing all of the classes, but the people and the mediums that I'm going to be bringing in should be able to accommodate anybody from beginners to advanced to intermediate, this type of thing. A little bit of an update on my CSNU, which is obviously with connections to Arthur Findlay College. So anybody who hasn't heard about the Arthur Findlay College, it's a world-renowned college that trains psychics and mediums. I've started doing my course with them, and also my PS1, which is performing for platform to make sure that my work is the best of its ability. Congratulations to me on already passing 1 mediumship diploma. Again, I'm just waiting for the certificates. As soon as that comes, I'm going to be very excited to see that there. I can't see any comments, so I hope you're commenting, because I've seen Laura's but I haven't seen anybody else's. So if you're sort of there, give me a bit of a hi, or sort of give me a little bit of a thumbs up, or whatever it is that yous are doing out there, so I know that yous are there. Just because of the fact that I haven't been able to see any of yous with your comments and whatnot. So any questions or anything that you would like to speak to me about, or even if you just like, hi, I'm the only one watching. No, there's a few of yous watching, Laura. I can see them watching. But if you've got any comments or anything, or any questions that you would like to talk to me about, you know, please do sort of give me your comments. Wait a minute. Debbie's watching. She's saying, hiya, Danielle. I hope you're well. I certainly am, Debbie, and I hope you are. I hope you, I seen you were reading my book, which was about soul contracts. So I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope it's bringing you a lot of knowledge and a lot of education then. And, you know, any questions or anything, or if you feel you get a bit stuck, then obviously, you know, do sort of get in touch there, and I'll endeavour to do my very best there to help you out there. Loving it. It's a fantastic book, isn't it? It's a really eye-opening book, and I'm a very big believer in soul contracts. Hiya to Louise, I hope you're well, darling. I'm very much into soul contracts, and I do believe that everybody we meet for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and there's always lessons in there for, you know, you and that other person. And I know that I've had a few lessons with different people over the many years, and I continue to grow and evolve just like we all do. Hi to Tammy, I hope you're well, Tammy. Big news for Facebook. I am back live, which I have been away from live for some time on my Facebook platform. Anybody who's new to my channel, I have a Facebook page, which is Danielle the Happy Medium, and I'll be back on the 5th of May doing a connection to messages back on Facebook, which I did do for some time, and then I stepped away for a little while just to sort of change things and do some other personal matters that I had, but I'm now ready to come back to the platform, so I should be back in the platform from the 5th of May onwards. Once a fortnight's all I can do, because due to the demands of my schedule and the demands of my life, and being a mother as well, I have to obviously try to find a break as well, because the spirit world's breathing down my neck for a break, and to be honest, I probably do need the break. I'm glad you come back the lives. I've missed them, Debbie. I have missed them, and it's been something that you know, I'm very fond of. And you know, while some people will criticize them, me, I'm quite a believer in them. You know, we have such a diverse selection out there now of people, and you know, we have a lot of different cultures and a lot of different ways, and you know, not one way is right nor is one way wrong, and I now believe that I must do what I feel is best for me. My apologies to the carrier bags. I said that's all my VIP stuff for when I do VIP performances there, which I do across the country and across the north, so I just like stuck them up because I was busy with the whiteboard. I have a whiteboard over here, and when my teaching class comes in, you will see a lot more of this whiteboard, because this whiteboard's all about jotting things down. I'm going to be able to draw things for you, so you just get a better understanding of that. Once I go into the school, which is, like I say, going to probably take me about 2.5, 3 years, maybe a bit sooner with the back end, you'll be able to see a lot more, and you will be able to see a lot more that goes on within that. I'm very excited to bring this school to the north, and very excited to, it's been a big passion of mine since I started my mediumship, due to the fact that I see such poor standards of mediumship. And as many of you will know, I was away at a trance workshop, not last week but the week before, and I was talking very strongly with a communicator who come through the medium about the standards of mediumship and what was going on within the standards of mediumship, and were the spirit world aware of that. And I was told from that communicator that the spirit world were very aware, and they are very ready to start and change things, and there's going to be a lot more change over the next 20 years within the spiritual movement, and I will be very interested to see that, and I'll be very interested to see what goes on there with that as well. Do I believe in the spirit world? Always. And do I believe that things happen just as they're meant to? Always. So that's that's a little bit about what's going to be coming on for the YouTube channel. Like I said, spirit class is going to be starting in there. How's the trance going? Really well, actually. Thanks, Debbie. Yeah, you know, I was a medium who thought I would never ever do trance, and yet I do trance so well. It's like I'm a natural. You know, I have an excellent trance guide who works with me. My team has changed quite phenomenally over the last 6 months as my mediumship has grown. I've grown into quite a stronger medium, if that makes sense. My mental mediumship's a lot stronger these days. It went a bit iffy there the other weeks, but I've been watching videos on YouTube. Nothing wrong with that, Debbie. Nothing wrong with that at all, sweetheart. Remember, take what you need, drop the rest of it. But with the connections to the trance, it's going very well. I have more of that to come in this year, and I've got other classes. I'm due to sit on a mental medium program on the 19th and 20th of this month. Getting insights, there's nothing wrong with that, Debbie. Nothing wrong with that at all. And you know, you should always do that. Hiya, Chantel. I hope you're well, darling. I hope you're keeping okay. I know Chantel's part of my psychic class class, or I hope I'm looking forward to training you there, and I'm looking forward to joining you. For those who aren't already aware, I'm already doing workshops at the moment, which is one which is connected to where I use a medium. This comes into the connection of we can all sort of build in fears, either through a lack of training or because we've had something go on fundamentally within our life that has therefore interfered with our mediumship. I'm looking forward to teaching you, Chantel. It'll be an excellent workshop. That one is advanced to do just the normal to intermediate. This is a course that I would recommend any medium to do, just to check in with you and see where your fears are and how much your mind is interfering with your mediumship there. I'm also doing a psychic workshop, which is one I've just taught Chantel about, which is looking at your psychic ability, how to enhance that psychic ability, looking at your tools and them types of things that come inside with your psychic workshop or your psychic work, reading energy, different layers of the aura. So that's very much within the psychic workshop that I'll be doing. Then we also have a mediumship workshop, which is a 2-day workshop done across online. All my courses are online at the moment due to help people, everybody and anybody, because being just residential, you some people sort of struggle to get to you because of the cost or whatever it may be. Where online, it's you're just tapping into the group and into the studio that we have, because all of you are going to be coming into a studio. For them who are on my workshops, it's a studio based, so you will be able to interact with me on a day-to-day way on that workshop time. But with connection to the mediumship, looking at your mediumship, your clairs, how your clairs are working for you, are you underusing your clairs, which can happen from time to time. We can also become too reliant on one clair, if that makes sense as well. Looking at your guides, how your guides may be assisting you, any advice I can give you on your spiritual team or your spiritual work there. So that comes in with a mediumship workshop. Then I'm bringing my first mentorship program to the forefront this year, which is a new thing for me again this year, with connections to my training. And this is mentorship in people for the next year, and this covers everything and anything from demonstration work to one-to-one work to guides to psychic ability to measuring your mediumship, where your mediumship's at, how we can improve, looking for deeper evidence, this type of thing. I also have a workshop running which is deepening of the evidence, which is what kind of evidence you're looking for, staying away from that structure, because a lot of people can get caught up in that structure there. Looking at how we can gain that, giving you extra skill sets, or what I call my spiritual toolbox, your spiritual toolbox, and how you can access that better there. So there's quite a bit in respect of workshops for me going on over the next 18 months there, as well as my own knowledge expanding. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. So any questions that you have with respect to mediumship or connections to your psychic ability or anything like that? Oh, brilliant. I've just walked in the door. Hello, Caroline. I hope you're well, darling. I'm sure Julie will be joining us anytime soon, because Julie loves to give me them questions, she does. But anyway, tonight's live stream is about the clairs. So who's here needs to shady ally who's here want to meet in a shady alleyway with them? No, I've got to say that I don't really want to be in anybody's shady alleyway. I don't know whether that's a come on or what that like, but I've got to be honest with you, I don't think that's right up my street there, unfortunately. But if you want to stick around and ask some spiritual questions, by all means do so. But unfortunately, alleyways and things are certainly not my forte. Okay. Anyway, getting back to what we were here to talk about, which is hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Hi to Nat and Deb's laughing and Chantel's laughing. Probably a troll, probably Kay, probably. But I've got to be honest with you, alleyways and that are not really up my street, but I know some people are into that type of thing. It could only happen on my channel, lasses. It could only happen on my channel. So anyway, getting back, like Jazza, I definitely, so let's talk a little bit about what I want to talk about. I'm watching. I'm pleased you're watching. Please do, Louise. I should have let you into the account there, and I will get you into that account, seeing as I've just noticed that this is going on. So the next time we do one, hiya to Catherine, darling, my PA. I hope you're well, sweetheart. Louise is also a girl who's one of my admins for the page, so hi to both of you. So let's talk a little bit about what we're talking about. So we're talking about clairs. Hey Danielle, how are you doing? I'm doing really well, thank you, sweetheart. I hope you are. Been a testing couple of weeks there, but certainly on the up. So now that I've done with me homework, it's time to play with myself. Oh my God, Lordy bless. Ladies, we've got ourselves a interesting breed of gentlemen and ladies and stuff here this evening. I don't really know. Mr. Winky isn't gonna stop being stiffy unless he gets a wank. So please provide me with a handy. And as much as you know, I find that funny, I've got to be honest with you. That's not really my cup of tea. I'm a moderator. So I think that it's not really my cup of tea, I don't think. Louise, I'm just going to add you as moderator, darling, so just stick around, won't you, while I just do this. So excuse me here, ladies, while I sort of do this. Right, Louise, you should be added as moderator. Can we, whatever, are you from India? No, I'm from the UK, that's where I am. I tell you, it's all going on here tonight, folks. I've never seen nothing like it. But anyway, it must just because I'm a lady. I've deleted him. Thank you very much, my darling. I do appreciate that. Keep an eye on them there for me, Louise, won't you, sweetheart? So, anyway, what's going on here? I don't know, Chantel. I think it's all turned into like some kind of sex chat. And that's not what I do. Unfortunately, I'm here to talk about mediumship. So I'm here to talk about the Clairs. So let's talk a little bit about them. So we've got 7 main Clairs. So the first 4 main Clairs that will always be used in the majority of mediumship is Clairvoyancy, Clairaudience, Clairsentience, and Claircognilian. Now, Clairvoyancy is probably the biggest one that each and every one of you has probably heard from. Which is connecting to seeing spirit, all right? People see spirit either objectively or they'll see spirit subjectively. So objectively is where you'll see with your own eyes. Subjectively is where you'll see within the mind. Neither one is wrong. Nothing wrong with either one. I know some mediums work both ways. I know some mediums who just work, just some that just work, you know, that way, which is objectively. I see others who work just subjectively or objectively. Louise, just grab him for us and all, will you please? So, we'll just have got a bit of a problem here with the channel, please, alright? So we've just got a bit of an issue with some, surprise Trump. He's our president last year, oh my God. I'm so sorry about this, people. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Catherine, you're meant to be my PE. You're meant to be helping me out here. Will I get anything? Oh my God almighty. Anyway, everybody's asking how old I am. Everybody's asking what's going on. Catherine, I've just put you as a moderator as well, all right? So I don't know where all these people have come from. I can't even do it. I can't even do a normal video for it. So let's talk about the Clairs. I'm going to try and shut that off while my girls are there. So basically, clairvoyancy is a connection to objectively and also subjectively. Now, objectively is where you'll see with your own eyes. Objectively is where you will see within the mind. Neither one is wrong. I work both ways, but I know other mediums who just work subjectively, which is to the mind, or some of them that will work objectively, which is with the eyes. Now, a lot of people talk about these. A lot of people speak about them. You know, you will sometimes say the spirit world, sometimes you'll say images, sometimes you'll say movies, sometimes you'll just say symbols, all right? Now, what I don't see a lot of is people talking about how to improve them, all right, or how to get them into a good place. So if we're wanting to improve our subjective clairvoyance, what we need to do is we need to put a blindfold on, right? The reason for this is, hiya Dan, been out of the loop for ages. Nice to see you, Debbie. I haven't spoken to you in a while. We need to have a chat, my darling, all right? We definitely, because we need to talk about some stuff in Essex as well. So definitely going to sort of check in this week because I've got some time. But with connections to whether or not you want to improve your subjective clairvoyance, it is put a blindfold on. Now, why is this? Because ultimately you're going to shut your eyes off, all right? Which also is going to stop you linking in on a psychic link as well, because ultimately you will use your eyes to connect in using using your energy. All right, your eyes will link. You will watch what people's facial expressions, you will watch body language, you'll watch all them things. This stops all of that. So what you would do is, if you wanted to improve your clairvoyance, you would put a blindfold on, or you would shut your eyes. That's either one or the other. That way, that will improve your subjective clairvoyance, which subjective is to the mind. Now, if you want to improve your objective clairvoyance, okay, you need to learn to relax the mind, all right? Because ultimately, you're just looking at it like you were looking at whatever it is that you say on a day-to-day basis, all right? And remember, once you shift your consciousness, once you shift your mind over, okay, once you shift your mind over, everything that you see is the spirit world. So if you say to yourself, I'm now going to work with the spirit world, everything that you see thereafter you say that is spoken, that piece of information is the spirit world. You trust in that, you believe in that, and don't think any differently of it. Now the problem being is a lot of people panic and think that it's their imagination. But if you've already put that intent out there, you've already put that thought out there, then ultimately that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get anything other than that there, all right? So if you're wanting to improve your objective clairvoyance, what you need to do is make sure that you put either a blindfold on or shut your eyes. That will improve your subjective clairvoyance. If you want to improve your objective clairvoyance, what you need to do is learn to just tell yourself that you are now working with the spirit world. Everything that you see will come from the spirit world, and also learn to relax your mind and just look at it like you were looking through your own eyes. All right, so I hope that sort of helps you a little bit with them exercises. Again, with subjective clairvoyance, always take the first thing that you're shown. Remember, if you're working or already starting to work with the spirit world, or already have some connections to the spirit world, so that would be the first thing that I would say to any beginner. So any beginner who's just starting to work with the spirit world, do them things. For those who are a little bit more advanced, you need to be looking at your images and what kind of images you're being shown. So, and this can also go for your beginners as well as also as you're advanced. Well, that's how you should see them clear, all right? But when you look at a spirit image, a spirit image will be quite clear. You should be able to make it out right well. And when you see a face, it will look quite, it's not 3D, but it will look like you're looking at me here on this video stream. If it's a psychic link or it's a connection to a psychic link, it will just be very flat, or it'll be very sort of one-dimensional, as I can put it. So i.e., you would just see, I'll just use this SNU thing because it's in front of me. You would just see that, right? That's all you would see, right? But if you were saying it is a clairvoyant spirit link, you'll be able to see the front page and all the pages inside. It'll be able to tell you a story, because that's what the spirit world can do. They can tell you stories. My apologies, I've pulled the back off of this. But that is the difference between psychic ability. So psychic ability, all you'll be able to say is this, where if you've got a link for the spirit world, you will be able to say the front page, whatever's inside of it, and all the rest of it, the story that goes to that communicating stuff, and that will all be shown on a clairvoyant link, all right, subjectively or objectively. Most people will always work subjectively. Why? Because ultimately that's where the story is, and ultimately that's where the communication is going on, because ultimately the loved ones are impressing on your mind, thoughts, feelings, this type of thing. So most of it is going to go on within the mind, but a lot of it, some of it will come from your own eyes. Why is that? Because sometimes that's just the way that the spirit world's working with you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way that they're working with you. Why won't you all see it that way? Because your eyes will not allow that. Does that make sense? Your physical eyes will not allow that. Or you may have some mechanic in there that's not allowing that to go on as well. So it could be a bit of both there. So remember that. The mechanic, let me talk a little bit about this, because you're going to be starting to hear a lot more of this, whether they're watching me or watching anybody else. A mechanic is just a way in which that it's basically an image, or it's a way in which that is used in order to connect to the spirit world. So i.e. the old-fashioned way would be, if the mechanic is, you would open your head up, you put your grounding down, you put your light up. Now a lot of it's done where you just shift your mind over, which is what I've just been talking about. So when you say you're working with the spirit world, that's exactly what you're working with. So everything you see thereafter is from the spirit world, and as soon as you say, right, I'm finished working with the spirit world, you come back to the normal world. Does that all make sense to everybody? Mechanic is it's just a word, it's just another terminology for, you know, a skill set or a base set, or a mechanic that you put in order to work for the spirit world, so that you have some sort of structure in there, if that makes sense. It's just so that your mind has got something to work on, or something to be able to relay that to. Mechanics may be, you know, where you get it right before you give it. So i.e. a mechanic of clairvoyance, which is what I've just talked about, you would use that mechanic to be able to link in, or you would use that mechanic in order to get what you want in order from the spirit world, if that makes sense, because you've allowed that mechanic to be built within your mind, so that your mind will then allow you to be able to obtain that image or that memory or that whatever from the spirit world. It's just a set of scenarios, or a set of structures that your mind, or you've placed into your mind in order for your mind to get where it needs to be. That's the mechanics of the spirit world. You know what I mean? I've hear a lot about, hi hon, I saw you live. No, I haven't seen you live. I hope you're well. I certainly am, Debbie. I'm really, really well. So that's a little bit about mechanics. Mechanics is really just another word for structure that has been placed in. And the reason I know that for is because my SNU book come from the Arthur Findlay College, and I've been reading that book quite extensively, and where I thought the mechanics was, you know, something quite exceptionally exciting, it's actually just structure. That's all it is. It's just structure that is built in order to allow a medium to obtain information through a mechanic that is built in, or a mechanic that they use in order to obtain the information from the spirit world. So there's not a big hum-ha about this word. It's just a word that's used. It's just another phrase or word there. So that's clairvoyancy anyway, and that's a little bit of a exercise in which that you can use in order to enhance your clairvoyancy. So let's go to clairaudience. So clairaudience again can be heard subjectively, or it can also be heard internally. So objectively, which is through the ear, subjectively is to the mind. So you may hear words or thoughts within your mind, or you may hear your name being called or whatever through your actual ear. Now, in order to be able to enhance these or to make these better, put cotton wool in your ears. All right. Now, you lot's going to be looking at me like I'm some cracker jacker, right? But in order to enhance your internal clairvoyancy, clairaudience, put cotton wool in your ears. Why? Because then you're drowning out the outside noise. So all you're hearing thereafter is what's in your mind. No more, no less. Now, there is nothing wrong with hearing it as your own names, there's nothing wrong with hearing it as your own thoughts. As you become a little bit more advanced and you maybe move down the path a little bit more, you might be able to determine which is female, which is male. Sometimes I hear them just as my own thought or on my own voice. Other times I hear them as men or women. It just depends on which way that communicator's working with me. In order to hear it, in order to make it better subjectively, it's learning to discipline your mind so that you can drown the outside noise out and just tune in to the frequency. Now, that's not the easiest in the world, because you've got to, one, learn to quiet your mind, learn to shut out the road sounds, this type of thing, so that you can strengthen that clear. Now, if you want to understand these better thing to do, go and sit by a roadside and listen to the cars that go by. What different types of cars, motorbikes, lorries, listen to them, because then you're going to feed that knowledge in your mind. So again, remember when I talked to you about the fact that the spirit world uses your knowledge, then think about that, because ultimately by sitting beside a roadside, you're going to be able to pick up the different types of cars, what they sound like, different motorbikes, this type of thing. If you're sitting in a country field, listen to the birds. How do the birds sound? Do they sound good? Do they sound different? Do different birds have different tweets, if that makes sense? So you're building that knowledge base in there. Look, listen, and this also can go for clairvoyancy as well. Look at your different butterflies or your birds or houses or whatever in order to put that mind knowledge in there. But that is a little bit of a way in order to build your clairaudience. And that will take some time. Some people are naturally clairvoyant, clairaudient, and that will come as no problem. Other people will be naturally clairvoyant, which will come no problem to them either. But ultimately what will happen is they will alter or change in order to keep strengthening them over the years there. So they're just a couple of techniques that you can use in order to enhance them clairs. Now, clairsentience, which is feeling the spirit world. My apologies, I've got an itch there. Best thing to do, stick cotton wool in your ears, blindfolds over your eyes, and feel. Feel your energy, sit in your energy. How does your energy feel to you? Get accustomed to your energy. If you don't know what your own energy feels like, then how are you meant to know if anything's trying to blend with your energy? All right, you need to be very, very aware of your energy, what it feels like. Does it feel warm? Does it feel cold? How does it feel to you when you sit? This is also a good way to sort of get in touch with your own soul and hear what your own soul's got to say. I recommend sitting in the power. There's not enough mediums who sit in the power for 10 minutes. I train all my people this way. Everybody should be sitting in the power at least once a week, twice a week for 10 minutes, listening to their own energy. Sitting in the power is shutting everything off. It's shutting everything off. And I mean everything. And every time a thought comes into your mind, you push it away. You shut it back off and you have to go and you have to start again. Every 10 minutes it learns to, one, discipline your mind so that you're stronger within the mindset, which helps you with your mechanics and helps you with the spirit world, because being disciplined will also discipline your energy, which will also then discipline you when you're working for the spirit world. But this is one of the things. So the best way to build clairsentience can come as feeling of growing. When you work with the spirit world, you might work with a particular communicator who makes you want to grow. You might work with another communicator who you might feel a mustache grow. Your hair might grow. I've seen that happen to me. You might feel like your belly grows. You might feel a condition, i.e. you might feel like you might feel a smoker's cough, you might get a pain in the chest, which is a heart attack for me. I mean, if I'm working with somebody who's had a heart attack, I get this terrible stabbing pain in my chest. It's awful, I tell you. But I know that's my sign for I'm working with somebody who passed with a heart attack. So there's lots of different signs. Learning to sit with a blindfold on, or the reason I say not to shut your eyes is because ultimately as a human you will want to open your eyes. So the best thing to do in order to build clairsentience is just to blindfold yourself and also stick cotton wool in your ears, because one, you can't hear now, and two, you can't see now. So therefore you're working your other clairs. This also goes for claircognilian as well. By learning to put the cotton wool in, shut your rat and putting the blindfold on, you've got to then use your other clairs. You've got to look for them other senses. You've got to work them because you've took your sight off and you've took your hearing off. So ultimately you're going to have to work with them other clairs in order to bring them to the forefront there. All right. And this can take some time. This may not happen overnight. It takes perseverance in order for your mediumship. If you want to be a medium, you've got to grasp it. The amount of people that seen me feel pulling in my stomach as well. Why is that? We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, Debbie, all right? Working with the spirit world does not come easy, and anybody who wants to work with the spirit world on a more professional level, like i.e. me, the amount of work I've put in the last 4 years, the amount of work I've put in with my team, the amount of upsets, the knockbacks, the tears, the crap demonstrations, the people who's pulled my work to bit, and that's not just in the spiritual movement but also in the general public. The knockbacks are there every week, and if you allow them knockbacks to knock you back, it will knock your mediumship back. If you truly want to work in the spirit world, you've got to keep at it. You've got to keep getting it, because eventually your spirit world, the connection with the spirit world gets stronger. You will get stronger, and things don't faze you as much there. Do it still bother you? Yeah, but you learn to just adapt to that in a different way, if that makes sense. But with connections to Debbie's question about pulling of the solar plexus, that's actually a psychic ability. Now, I always thought it was a mediumship ability, but it's actually not. And I only learned this myself last week when I was away on the trance workshop. The pulling of your solar plexus can be one of two things. One, it can be a connection to where your sitter is pulling you. So if, say, for example, you're on a floor demonstration, you will feel a pull to the stomach, which is where your congregation or a particular person in the congregation is pulling on your energy, i.e., I would like a message, I want a message, come over here, I want a message, I want a message, which will pull on your solar plexus. Also, solar plexus is used for your psychic ability. It will help you to connect to your psychic ability, connect to your sitter on a psychic ability. So your solar plexus will connect with their energy and be able to start and read their energy, and that will then obviously move around the body, or it will give you other senses there. What can happen sometimes is a snapping effect, which is a snapping effect to your solar plexus. Now, this will be where somebody's either connected to your solar plexus, or where you have that energy is just instantly being shut down, and it will like snap back like a elastic band type of thing. And that is where the energy's just been disturbed, or where the link is being disturbed, or the energy's being cut, if that makes sense. So that is what that will be about there, Debbie. Try not to connect to your sitter's energy too much, because then you become a psychic medium, not an evidential medium, and I would like to say more evidential and less psychic mediumship. Because ultimately you're pulling that information from their energy and not from the spirit world. You know, you should really be connecting to the spirit world. And if you ever feel as if you're working on a psychic ability, and as you progress down that path, you will see the difference and you will feel the difference. As long as you're true to your communicator and your sitter, and just say, look, I'm not getting that from the spirit world, but I am getting it from your energy. Would you understand this? Then they will wholeheartedly respect you, and as will the spirit world there. I see far too many mediums working on a psychic ability, it's claiming it's the spirit world, when really it's not the spirit world at all. It's actually you're reading that off their energy there. So they are the four main clairs. They are the four main clairs that are used quite strongly there within the mediumship movement, or the four main clairs that you'll probably find that you will use. Now, there is a Clair smelling and there is a Clair tasting. Again, in order to enhance these clairs, you eat every fruit and vegetable that's going, smell them, feel them. What do they feel like? And this also works quite nicely with clairsentience. If you want to improve that, excuse me, if you want to improve that Clair, also there, feel things. Feel what a book feels like. You know, what does it feel like when you feel it? What does a flat cap feel like? Walking stick, a pen, you know, jewelry. What does it feel like? Feel them. So then you're building that knowledge base inside of there. If you're getting something through that you don't know what it feels like, or you don't know what it is, then ultimately how can you relay that information if you haven't got that knowledge base set in there? So feel leaves, feel the grass. You know, what does it feel like to you, so that you're building that knowledge base set. And this again goes for your Clair tasting and the Clair smelling. You know, smell your perfumes, know your perfumes, you know your aftershaves, smell them, go into shops, you know, bloody hell, any, you know, high-end department stores got any amount of fragrances for free, you know, on the go. You know, you just gone around the fragrance shop, you'll come out there smelling like a Totty Yotty's handbag, like, but you know, it'll work for you, because you'll know what every perfume smells in the district. You know what I mean? That's a really good way of being able to build that with connections to your Clair tasting. Again, you know, look at, you know, the different foods. How do they taste to you? Why do they taste like that to you? You know, how would it feel in your mouth? The textures of them. You know, blood. Remember, I mean, when I work with people who've had road traffic accidents and things like that, I get a metal taste in my mouth, and then I get the blood, and that's when I know that I'm working with somebody who is being involved in a road traffic accident, and I know it's a car or a motorbike, because I taste the metal first and then I taste the blood. So that is like it, but that's what my knowledge base, that's what my spiritual toolbox has allowed me to build there. And this is again when I talk about with the clairs and all clairs that you use. You know, you will find that you will build a spiritual toolbox as you work more with the spirit world, as you work more in depth, either personal sittings or demonstration work or whatever it may be that you do. You will find that, you know, that knowledge base will build. And once you've got that link for it, or you've got that knowledge set for it, it never changes, because that's your sign, that's your mechanic for that thing there, if that makes sense. So, you know, always keep building on that spiritual toolbox. And this is why I say to you, spiritual toolboxes are incredibly good things to have, and that knowledge base inside of them is also extremely good to have, because ultimately, as much as the spirit world will try to get that information over to you, and they will eventually, but sometimes you don't have all the time in the world to get that information over. So if you've got that spiritual toolbox, you're getting that information straight away. All right, well, I've got a gentleman here who I know would have been involved in a road traffic accident. Could you accept that? Yes. Right. He tells me when I get daffodils, he also makes me aware that his birthday was in the month of March. Yes, that's correct. You would understand also that I'm feeling a t-shirt here and it would look to me like a football t-shirt. Can you accept that? Yes, I would accept that. So that's when your spiritual toolbox is there. That information, you don't have to look for it because it's already built in, if that makes sense. Excuse me. So these are just some of the ways in which that you can build your Clair set. Like I say, I've seen an awful lot of let's tell you what to do, but when nobody's giving you the exercises or anything more advanced on that in order to build that Clair set. And ultimately, in order to build that Clair set, you know what I mean, most mediums should be using at least 4 to 8 Clairs. You know what I mean, I've given 7 there. There is another one I'm going to give in a minute, which is Clair Empathy. And this is a really good one to be able to use in order to bring the spirit world into the room and get your communicator or your sitter to be able to feel the spirit world, which ultimately is what we're all seeking. Now, most people can do this, but it's more for them who are empathic, which is myself, and for those who are quite highly emotionally strung, which is myself. And I mean, I'm highly strung at the best of times. Them who feel quite deeply about situations, you know, for those who are probably on here, you know what I mean, I cannot watch adverts with children in, one because of my past with my son, but also because it just breaks my heart to watch it. Animals as well is another thing for me, you know, seeing any sort of animal in distress just it tips me out of the edge, like, but this is another Clair that's used quite a lot, which is Clair Empathy. But it also, what you can do with this is it can become too much, and you have to watch that as a medium there, because ultimately what can then happen is you can then start carrying extra sort of emotions that aren't yours, if that makes sense. So this one here is it's a bit of a juggling act. You've got to sort of have that high end emotional base set in order to be able to link into this Clair, and that's why it's on the lower scale of the Clairs, because ultimately not everybody will use this Clair, not everybody will be able to use this Clair. This Clair will also allow you to bring that spirit world to the forefront. So when you're sitting with a particular lady or a gentleman or whoever it may be, you will be able to reciprocate that emotion over to your loved one sitting in the chair, if that makes sense. I've seen me do this on demonstrations a lot, where, you know, a lot of people say, God, Danielle, you'd think the spirit world had been here with us tonight. And sometimes when I'm working, that Clair will come into place. But not always. So let me say, Debbie's asking me, so could that be what happened when you had a day where you feel down, upset, and no idea? Yes, that happens to me quite a lot, that actually, Debbie. I'm a water sign, and I've got, to be honest, I haven't got a great deal of luck in that department, but my emotions, because I'm a water sign, I tend to be quite erratic there, and especially because the change with the moon and this type of thing, and also, you know what I mean, like yesterday I felt incredibly low. Yesterday was a bad day for me, yet today I feel really good. Tomorrow might be a different scenario, and that's just because my emotions, yeah, I'm a Scorpio too, where it's the water in you, sweetheart. And I mean, a lot of people say that this like is nonsense and it has nothing to do with that. I tend to disagree, but here everybody's entitled to their opinion, and who am I to say any different? But you know, I tend to find that some days are easier for me to manage than other days. I find that some days when I'm Pisces felt really good the last few days. You will have, because there's been the full moon as well in Pisces, in Scorpio. So anybody who maybe had some issues over the weekend, I'm an air sign, turbulent. Well, I've got an Aries moon, right? So that, like, I've got an Aries moon with a water sign sun, and then I've got an Aquarius rising. So I've got like air, fire, and water all in my chart. So like I've got knee look, and there's very little earth in there to ground all that down. So like, and they wonder I'm like flying around in the cuckoo's nest like 95% of the time, right? Because I've got no earth in there to bring it all down. So with connections to your emotions or Clair Empathy, it can be quite overwhelming. And if you're already on that higher spectrum of emotions, bringing that Clair in is going to just like sort of really, you know, you've got to watch that there. You really have got to watch it in order to enhance that. Or if you're not using that Clair to the best of its ability, learn to feel other people, learn to feel their emotions. How do they feel to you? Can you get in touch with your more emotional side? Can that softer side of you? Where is that softer side? Because a lot of people don't always have the more logical than they are feeling. So learn to sort of get in touch with your feelings, learning to see them feelings for other people's feelings from their point of view, how they would feel about the loss of your mother or a loss of the father or whatever it may be, and see how, you know, especially with children and things like that, look at how that would work and how that would feel to you. There is a really good way in order to enhance that. You know, work in hospitals, doctor surgeries, you know, work with the elderly is a really good way of, you know, working with the homeless, that type of thing is a really good way of building that Clair, because you're seeing a side that is very high on emotion, and is also very high in very stressful areas as well of everyday walk in life. So that's the way in order to build that Clair, if that's a Clair that you would like to build there. So they are the 8 main Clairs. 7 of them's more. The first 4, which is Clairaudience, Clairvoyance, Clairsentience, and Claircognilian, are 4 of the main Clairs. The Clair smell and the Clair tasting and Clair empathy are some of the lowercase Clairs there, but they are always worked, and all Clairs should be developed as much as possible in order to get the best experience from your mediumship there. Now these can take years, some can be developed really, really quickly, some can take forever, and some will not be as developed as much as other Clairs will be, because ultimately as a medium you will still always have your primary Clairs that you will work with. But as a medium, and to be a good medium, you should be working with all of these Clairs all of the time, or trying to work with them. Best way to do that is if you're already working with the spirit world, or you have connections to the spirit world, you say to your guides, look, I'd like to try different communicators. This way your knowledge base will grow again, because you're not just bringing in your grannies and your grandmas and this and that and the other. You're bringing in your uncle links, you're bringing in your mother links, you're bringing in your best friend links, you're bringing in this. Also ask them to work with different conditions, how them conditions are, and then work them not only clairvoyantly, but not only clairaudience, but also clairsentience and claircognilian and clair empathy. So you'll say to them, right, we're going to do conditions, but I want to just feel them. That's helping you to build your spiritual toolbox, and also helping you to grow and evolve as a medium. If you're wanting to say to your, like I'll say to my guys at the minute, I'm trying something with my guides, and it's working, but again my knowledge base isn't that strong there, so I need to build on that knowledge base. So for example, I'm working a lot more clairaudience again at the moment, but I'm asking at the moment for full names. So we're working with different communicators for different full names in order to increase my knowledge base set, and also understand how that knowledge base comes in with different communicators, because every communicator works differently. So I'm trying to build that knowledge base on my spiritual toolbox, which gets bigger. Does that make sense? So if you're wanting to enhance on these Clairs, not only here on the earth, but then you also got your guides and stuff in place, get them guides to bring them in different ways, so different conditions, feeling them, hearing them, seeing them. Once you've got that sort of in place, or you feel it's enough for you right now, swap it over. Try street names. How do you want to feel them, see them, touch them, which way, so that you're building that knowledge base set. Does that make sense? So try that out there and see how they work for you. You know, if anybody's stuck, you know, my email address is in the bottom. If you sort of want to get in touch, and, you know, I'll do everything and anything there to sort of help you along that path to your best of your ability. Or, you know, drop me a Facebook message, you know, on the page, which is Danielle Happy Medium. Let me just take a look at some of your comments. I think we've got rid of most of the crazies. I tell you, it could only happen to me. Anyway, Debbie saying, still haven't seen my guides. Don't worry too much about that, Debbie. You know, not everybody knows who their people are, and there's nothing wrong with that, all right? you know, we have a big thing about getting to know our guides, and well, it is a good thing, and it does build a great knowledge base, that it's not, you know, the be all and end all of anything. And, you know, sometimes not knowing them is just as good a way of building trust as it is to know them there as well. You know, I mean, I know I've got, you know, I've had quite a few new people step in, you know, in my team. You know, I mean, I've took on about another 3 guides in the last 6 months. It's like bloody, it's like bus stop city up there. It's like bus stop city. I've got them in a note like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, I'm going to think I need a cup of tea. I hear Catherine, I could do with one myself, darling. It's like it's all systems gone up there at the minute. But I'm trying new teams out. You know, I know my mediumship's changing, not only in the respective mental mediumship, but also physical mediumship there as well, in which, you know, it's something I'm just as passionate about. I'm very passionate about teaching as well, and I'm passionate about mental mediumship as well. I'm passionate about everything about the spirit world, just because it's a great love of mine, and that's why I keep probably coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it, even though I've had that many knockbacks, because I genuinely do believe in the spirit world more than anything in this world. But with connections to your guides, Debbie, don't worry too much about that, you know, and try just to allow that process to happen naturally. I know a lot of people sort of try to rush that process, or try to make that process go quicker than, you know, what it's meant to. Try not to try to learn to trust in the divine, learn to trust in timing, that, you know, when the time is right, everything will fall into place. And that's not just in your mediumship work, but also in your personal life there as well, because I think sometimes we can sort of get very, very carried away, thinking, you know, we should be pushing all the time. And I was probably a big person who did this 2 years ago. I was constantly pushing. Now, why isn't it moving this fast? Why? Like, why? And now I've learned just to take my foot off the gas and just learn to trust that the spirit world's got my back, that everything's just as it's meant to be. And if and when the time is right, things will change, and they will change for me at the right time there. And as humans, we get very, very caught up in wanting to push forward incredibly quick. And also with mediumship, because it's a very exciting and new experience. And, you know, once we learn one thing, we want to learn something else, we want to learn something else, and we want to learn something else. The only problem sometimes is we can run too fast, or we can get too far ahead of ourselves. And then ultimately the spirit world will put the brakes on and go, whoa, you're going just a little bit too fast, because one, you haven't grown as a person, because you have to remember it's a two-way street. A lot of people probably may not agree with this, but, you know, it's my personal viewpoint, and this is how I see it, and this is the way I've seen it in the spirit world. So, you know, what happens is if you get too far ahead there with your spiritual path, and you haven't grown as a human in order to work alongside that path, you will have to take them human lessons in order to be able to keep evolving, not only spiritually, but also as a human. People think just because you work for the spirit world, well, that's just it, and you just work for the spirit world. It's not. There's more to it than that. There's life lessons to learn, not only just as a human, but also in the spirit world as well, and in learning to be a better human, and how you treat people, and the way in which you treat people, and how you do situations. Do you still do them a certain way? Past life hurts, you know, relationship issues, what you've had going on with people, you know, this type of thing. And they can take just as much time as learning your lessons in the spirit world there. And the spirit world obviously want you to be as much in that zone of, you know, forgiveness, you know, staying away from that anger, learning to love thy neighbour as thou love thyself, and, you know, all these types of things. And that comes through lessons and learning, you know, how to react, not to react, you know, learning to forgive people for what they've done here, and, you know, in a lot of different scenarios. So it's not just the physical path that you want, and there's also a spiritual path there as well. So try to learn to trust in that, Debbie. Try not to worry too much about that, and know that they're there. Your guides will be there. They will always be there. They'll always be watching around and about you. You know, your loved ones are always there with you no matter what. And just because if you don't know them or don't see them or whatever, it doesn't mean to say that they're not there. And I know a lot of mediums who get really, really freaked out about that. They get really sort of panicked and think, well, they're not there, they've abandoned me, or, you know, they're not communicating with me. it's not that at all. It's just the fact that you've built in a fear somewhere, and that fear is ultimately stopping you from moving forward there, and it's stopping you from achieving you being the best that you can possibly be, because the spirit world already know how good you are, and they know how much you're loved, and the only person who doesn't know that is you. Does that make sense? And you get very fear-based, and you get very panicked, and then what happens is you build in them fears, and then it then has a knock-on effect to your spiritual work, and unfortunately then you start blaming the spirit world. It's the spirit world's fault, and the spirit world's not doing this, and the spirit world's not doing that, and the spirit world's, da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da, when ultimately really it's the mediumship side of it, that it's you as a human or an individual that hasn't accepted that, you have work to do as you have things to do as you do, and ultimately unless you're in a good place, and I say this time and time again, if you're not in a good place, then ultimately what will happen is the spirit world will step back, or the spirit world will wait or make you learn them lessons in order for you to be able to progress forward, to bring in the things that you're looking for. So i.e., if you're looking for that relationship, well, let's take me for an example, right? I've asked for some new things to come in over the next 6 months. Due to the fact that there's been some changes in the last 6 months, more so in the last 6 to 8 weeks. And 6 months ago, well, I'll tell you, 6 months ago I met somebody, and there was some things I did that was probably proper fear-based, and that type of thing. So I went away about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and I sort of put that right, because ultimately I knew that them things weren't working for me anymore. I knew that they weren't the right things for me, and the way I was addressing things and the way I was doing things, just it wasn't serving me. And so I'd said to the spirit world at the weekend, I said, well, look, now that I've been able to address them things, and I'm not that fear-based, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, actually my relationship with the spirit world has also changed because of that, because ultimately I'm not as fear-based, I'm not as scared of them, and that's been something that's been going on now probably for about 8 to 10 months, but I would say over the last 6 months, very much so, but I would say again in the last 3 months, that's become even more less, because of the fact that I've done this work as a human. I've connected my mind. I've looked at where my mind is, where my headspace is, what it's been doing, and that's not connected to the particular gentleman that I met last year. This is just in general, and stuff that's gone on within my past and stuff, and ultimately that has like triggers and knock-on effects and stuff, which ultimately will knock onto your mediumship as well, which will ultimately stop your mediumship from progressing forward, or will stop you in the spirit world from moving forward. Because ultimately, if you still got that trigger and that fear base, then as much as you will still move forward, you won't move forward as fast as you want to move forward. And you will only move when the spirit world feel it's time for you. And if you haven't addressed your shit down here, basically, then ultimately they will allow you to move forward, but at a much, much slower pace. Because ultimately you've got to address your shit down here, and then you go up there and you do the work for them there as well. And ultimately it's not about them, it's about you. It's about you. And if you're not in a good place, mentally, emotionally, physically, I mean, a lot of people say it's just the mind. It's not just the mind, it's your emotions, it's where you are, how caged off you are, how shut off you are. And, people say we can get round that. You can't get round stuff that's gone on within your past. You might be able to shut it off, and you might be able to sort of, address it to an extent, and think, oh, well, that's addressed, let's put that to bed. So what you'll do is you'll put it in your back of your mind, or in a door, or wherever. But ultimately that trigger, some further down the line, a year down the line, somebody will do something and it'll just trigger all that back off, because you're that even though you feel you've addressed it in the back of your mind, that door's still there. And even when you've boxed it off, the trigger will be the key to open that door back up. And ultimately what the spirit world will want you to do, or what you should be doing, even if not so much the spirit world, because it is the spirit world, no, because the spirit world want you to be the best that you can be. They want you to be that essence of love of what it is that you've come to the earth plane for. Does that make sense? So ultimately the spirit world wants you to grow and be the best human you can possibly be, because ultimately you then become aligned with what your intention is and who you are here on the earth plane. If you're not aligning, you're constantly battling against, what you're truly meant to be. And you're not standing in your power, you're not standing in your truth, you're not being who you're supposed to be, which is what the spirit world which is the intelligence of the spirit world, want you to be, live, grow, be in every essence. So, be very mindful of that. Make sure that you address your past. Make sure you address the stuff that's gone on. If you feel you need to have, some more, I've been away lately and been having some proper work done, like some proper, medical work, if that makes sense. Not psychologists and that, but this lady's is probably as good as in looking at the subconscious and whatnot, because ultimately I knew that them things needed to be addressed there. So do sort of bear that in mind there as well, all right? Anyway, any more questions from me, folks? We've had some really interesting folks on here tonight. It's gone dark and all. I come on in, it was all so light and it's all gone so dark. Let me take a look there. Let's turn that lamp around a bit. New lighting's coming, it's on its way. So I'm very excited about them types of things and stuff. So when you're going to do the spirit class there at the end of the month, by end of next month, I'll be standing over here, and then all that. It's probably my fault. I track the nutters. Well, you have to ask yourself there, Debbie, and I say this. I used to say, I track the nutters, and to be fair, I probably do. But is it the fact that why do you attract them? And this is what I address with this lady, is the fact that you attract people where there's something gone on within your life further down the line, or before that person even appeared. So i.e. there might have been something within the family home where mother was quite codependent, or where father was quite abusive or quite controlling. You might have then gone on to have relationships with men or women, depending on whether there's men watching this evening, where they are quite controlling people, or they may be people who have quite domineering personalities, if that makes sense. And it's not the fact that you attract them, it's the fact that you haven't addressed the stuff within your mind. And also what happens is if we're told quite a lot, which we are, because I think the mechanics in which that we grew up with as children, I think our parents try to do the best possible job, and I'm no different here, but that's my daughter, by the way, ringing, because I haven't answered the mobile. She has rang the house phone, my child. I'm gonna kill her. That's it. So basically, they don't have a manual, so they're just sort of doing what they got off their parents, if that makes sense. They're just sort of using the same sort of techniques that they were given from their parents and this type of thing. So when we attract people, and also we can attract people when we're not always in the best of places. So you've got to remember, if that person's not in a good place and you're not in a good place, you're going to be matching somewhere there as well. So for example, if that person's quite depressed, or that person's a little bit down, or and you're like that, then that's what you will attract, because that's where that person is. What tends to happen in that problem, yeah, she will be wanting money, right there, Catherine. What you tend to find with that is ultimately one party will then start to grow, or one party will start to build again, or start to get into a better position. And what happens is one party's then left behind, because that party's already either moved on, or they've met somebody else who's still of their attraction, but you have want that person to either come with you, but they can't. Why can't they come with you? Because they haven't grown as much as you have, emotionally or mentally or physically. So what they will do is then attract another person who is very much like you in a lot of respects. A gentleman put something to me very, very strongly last night. And it's a really good way that he put it to me. We're all in a rubber dinghy, right? So imagine this, a big sea, right? And we're all in a rubber dinghy. Some rubber dinghies are for one man. Some rubber dinghies are for two men. Some rubber dinghies are for four men, or whatever it may be, right? But most of us are in a one-man dinghy, right? Floating around, bobbing around in the water. Tending to our day-to-day shit, doing what we're doing, X, Y, and Z, right? Then you have them people who don't have a dinghy at all. Now, them people, right? You'll have some people who've got fully fledged dinghies, rowers, everything, got a windsail, the lot, right? They're quite good people they've got quite a bit going on, right? Then you'll get other people with maybe a dinghy, and the dinghy's only got maybe a couple of paddles and, this type of thing. Then you'll get some other people who've just got the dinghy. Then you've got some people who've got no dinghy. right? The people who have no dinghy try to latch on to the people who have dinghies. Now, there'll be some people who've got the sail on, they've got the paddles, they've got the whole shebang, and the people who've got no dinghies will try to sort of get onto them. Yeah, I'm not getting in with you, you've got out, so therefore you're of no use to me, goodbye, right? So therefore they won't look at them. Then you'll have other people who've just got the paddles in the dinghy, and they're sort of looking at them but thinking, no, I'm still sort of on my travel, so I'm going to sort of let you go there type of thing. Then you'll get the other people who've just got their one-man dinghy. And they're sort of trying to get their, life together or whatever it may be. And the people who've got no dinghies sort of get a hold of the dinghy. And what happens is eventually they drown the person in the dinghy. Why is that? Because the dinghy is only made for one person. And everybody has to have their own dinghy. How's that for you all? So think about it like that. Alright? When people come into your life, and again, what I say to you, reason, a season, or a lifetime, a lot of people will come in for a reason. You've either got something to teach them, or they've got something to teach you. Some people will come in for a season. They'll spend some time with you, and then ultimately they've got to keep moving on for whatever reasons, or for you as well. And then you'll have other people who come in and stay a lifetime. You like your friends and stuff like that, who are there for you through thick and thin. Some men or women will come in, and they'll only come in for a short space of time because either they've got something to learn from you or you've got something to learn from them. Then you've got other people who will come in who are there for a lesson, which will be to teach you either not to be a doormat, or you need to love yourself more, or you need to look after your dinghy. You need to look after your dinghy, because ultimately they'll sink your dinghy and then move on, because they don't really want to build their dinghy. Why? Because they don't want to put the work in. Emotionally, they've had some issues with the past, or they've had some problems with the past, or they've been hurt in the past by an ex-partner, and they just sort of can't get past that. And some people take longer to get past things. I know it's a bit like grief. Some people will get over that incredibly quickly. Other people can take a lifetime. And it's the same with relationships, family problems, the loss of children, whatever it may be. We all move at a different pace, and it's the same in the spirit world. And this is where I talk about the communication and the connections to the spirit world, and the fact that everybody up there is learning at a different pace, just the same down here. So that is the reasons as to why certain people may come into your life. So is it really the fact that they're nutters? They're not nutters, they're just people who haven't addressed their shit, basically, and all aware in some way, shape or form, probably guilty of that. I am no different. And is there some things that have gone on in the last 20 years that I could have probably done differently? Yeah. Is there stuff that's gone on in the last 6 months that I probably could have done differently? Without a shadow of a doubt. But at least I went away and I addressed it, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I knew it had to be worked on, which ultimately is going to put me in a much stronger position, and obviously put my mediumship in a much stronger position as well, because I've accepted and understand that the behaviours and patterns and habits, they're not good. Do you know what I mean? And each and every one of us could probably relate to that in some way, shape or form. I highly recommend a lovely lady of mine, which is Linda Bullock. Her work is phenomenal, and I'll forever be in debt to her for the last 2.5 months. Even prior to that, she was working with me last year, but I've been working with her more extensively in the last 2.5, 3 months, just sort of getting me into a good place, and ultimately making sure that I'm as strong as I can possibly be there as I head into the second half of the year. But if anybody be interested in her technique, I would certainly recommend it. I know this lady does Skype sessions and stuff, so and it's not counselling and such, it's looking at reprogramming the subconscious, so that the subconscious allows you to move forward in the best way possible there. All right. So, any more questions for you lot, or are you all finished here tonight after I've rambled on? We've had rambling on. We've talked about Clairs. We've talked about life in general, and this, that, and the other, and then we've just talked about all sorts of stuff tonight. It's been an interesting one this evening. I hope you have enjoyed it. Lots to think about. Life is about thinking about, and I was meditating there this morning, and my guides were very, very strong about some things, and spoke to me about some really different things. And I know, where am I from? I'm from the UK. I'm from the UK. I think it's Chan there. So I don't know where you're from, but I hope wherever you are, it's really nice, sweetheart. and just, you know, getting plans in place and things moving forward. Love listening to you ramble now. Thanks, Debbie. You're good to me. We are back Facebook Live messages, which is on the 5th of this month, May. I'm demonstrating in Colchester on the 10th, Courtbridge on the 10th. That's up in Scotland there, for anybody who's maybe down here and is maybe wanting to come along and watch me work up there. The book is ready. I'm so excited about my book. So anybody who hasn't seen my book, we'll be getting a preview around about July time for that. Nice to have you back on Facebook Live. It's nice to be back, Chantel. And again, this goes back to some of the issues I had at the beginning of the year where, you know, and that was addressed as well, where somebody really sort of like attacked me and had a real go at me. And that sort of had a big knock-on effect as well, like as in how I felt and the way I felt. And, you know, it was very daunting when somebody's telling you that they're stalking you and they're watching you, and, you know, it was really quite freaky there, and it was incredibly sort of a very dark time for me at the beginning of this year, January, February time, and it was a incredibly nerve-wracking time, not only for me but also for my family there as well, and I wasn't quite sure what this person was going to do, if anything at all, and it was a very fear-based time, and it was a time where I felt as if, you know, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, if that makes sense. Crazy Mary, Crazy Caroline, you mean? I still have her emails and stuff there, and you know, I do know who she is and stuff, but I don't really want to open up that can of worms, because to be honest with you, it's not worth the time and it's not worth the hassle. I mean, are the police and that involved? Have I got accident numbers? Yeah, do you know what I mean? All that's there, and, you know, it was a really, really quite frightening time. It was quite scary there at one point, like, you know, people threatening us and, you know, telling me you're being stalking me and stuff. It was freaky, like, to be fair. And then to top it all off, anybody who's a northerner on here, I love her email where she stood and she slandered the northern people, how thick yous were. That's what she said, yous were thick for listening to me. And yet, to be honest, I proved my point, and I you know, I don't say anything unless I feel I can prove my point. I mean, I'm quite an honest person. I tend to find, you know, I mean, maybe some of my feelings, I'm not always as honest as I'd like to be, but because I just send her our way. Well, I tell you what it is, I dread to think anybody who started on me with you lot on that Facebook platform is a flaming destroy them. You really would. And, you know, I'm humbly touched that you know, stick there with me, not only here but also the face page and everything else that you do. Do you know what I mean? Yous are always there for us, and yous always having me back and stuff. It's always a pleasure there. But yeah, you know, it wasn't a good time for me at all, and I had other things going on in the background as well, which wasn't obviously helping that situation either. And, you know, sometimes you look for support in the wrong places. That support just wasn't there, and that's just the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. So that's that anyway for that. So if you've all finished with your questions and things, I'm going to go and look at some cameras. I'm going to have my friends just getting back in touch with me. He's waiting for me to inbox them back. So I'm going to go in and speak to my friend about some cameras and things, because I'm going to be buying a new camera next week for the YouTube channel. And then we've got a new laptop coming as well. My lovely dad has offered to buy me a brand new laptop, so I'm very, very touched and very humble for my birthday. It's not long till it's my birthday, so I'm very excited about that there as well. Obviously, as you all are aware, there's a new marketing company stepping in. They stepped in today. We've had some lovely responses. It's all new to me, this YouTube. Well, it is me and Al, Debbie, but you know, I just roll with the punches, me, sweetie pie. I really, really do. So there's going to be obviously lots of new change. So there's a new marketing company stepped in. We've got some new admin staff and also a man new PA, Catherine, who I couldn't do it without. So thank you very much for you being there, Catherine, and listening to me rant and rave, because I do rant and rave from time to time. You know, so watch for the Facebook changes. There's going to be a new update on the website and stuff. There's going to be some really new funky things coming in. The vlogs also going on. Thanks so much for getting in touch about the healing shop. Just burnt my pizza. Good daddy. I tell you, I'm going for my tea. I don't know what I'm going to have. I think I've got some salmon downstairs. I think I'm going to probably have that. There's the vlog on Instagram, so do check that out over there as well. There's already a couple up from Aberdeen, because obviously I was away in Aberdeen over the weekend. They're really, really good. They're a bit rough and ready at the moment, but obviously the new the new marketing company is going to see to all of that for us. So, and we're taking another meeting there on Friday, and they're a lovely bunch. They really, really are. For me, it's a new car as well. I'm looking at a new car, so I'm really excited for that. So that's time to time, you mean all the time. What are you talking about? No, it's not that bad. Don't be telling these folks on here that I'm like some crazy whipping woman, because I'm not. Well, I am sometimes, like, I just like shit done, you know what I mean? It's me baby. She's me baby. My business is me baby, and she has been now for the last 4 years. Great. Good things from I hope so, Debbie, and my people assure me more than anything, you know, that by the end of May, I'll be in a much, much stronger position. I'll be in a much, much better place. And, you know, the things that have bothered me for the last 6 months will just be irrelevant there. So, and unfortunately, some people will learn the lesson the hard way there, unfortunately. But for me, it's big hugs and big kisses. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I know you'll be getting sacked tomorrow, yeah? No, I wouldn't sack you. I need you. You do too much for me. For everybody else, I'll see you on Saturday on the page live, which is going to be great. I have back. Thanks for all your questions. I know tonight hasn't been as much questions, but there's been enough there. For anybody who's watching this about Claire's and stuff, my apologies for the bit of a ramble here at the end, because it really was about Claire's and stuff. And hopefully I'll see you all next week with a new one, all right? So big kisses, big hugs, everybody. All right, I'll see you all soon. All right, see you all on the Facebook page. Please do subscribe. Please do share this video around. I'll be really humbly grateful to you. All right, big kisses, big hugs, everybody. Bye.